This is Jimmy.
I'm Fish.
And this is Thinking Outside the Pod. Hello and welcome to Thinking Outside the Pod, episode 92.
92?
We made it.
What happened to the other 91? Why do I not remember?
I think
91
we
podcasts?
skipped it. We were like,
Did we
got up to 15 and then we skipped all of it.
Oh, no, we just said forget this. We're just going to start with 92 just so we sound more important.
Yeah, no,
we've been doing this for a while.
We got to 28 and then we went to 29. We accidentally flipped the numbers and now we're on 92.
Sure, I guess.
Yes. All right. So we haven't been doing this for very long. So pardon our inexperience and mess ups that are bound to happen.
What are you talking about? No,
I know.
Don't talk to both of us.
I'm talking about just myself. Fisher is perfect in every way.
Damn straight.
What is that? Mary Poppins? Fisher Poppins? Isn't Mary Poppins practically perfect in every way? Isn't that a thing for Mary Poppins?
Sure.
Do I know too much about Mary Poppins?
It's one of those I haven't watched Mary Poppins since like little kid, so I don't really remember it too well. You know, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I haven't watched it in a while.
Because that was really even before our time. Even I mean, I was old by the time we were young.
Yeah, it must have been. when did that come out? It's definitely. Well, yeah, definitely it was. I would think it was before.
Because I mean, we're definitely not old, but we're also
we're old. Wow, if
young.
I misspelled it.
Oh man,
1960. Yeah, definitely way before us.
Okay, I was gonna say
20 years before us.
I thought it'd been out for a while before us.
Yeah. So, but pretty innovative. I mean, well, I don't know. I guess around that time were there live action / cartoons?
Well, there was that the one with like Jerry from Tom and Jerry, like the dancing mouse or whatever. Like they had a little bit of the. I think around then is when they started doing
like
the
when
transposing
they just started
and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then like Who Framed Roger Rabbit like took it to like the crazy limits, and then I guess there hasn't been much other than Space Jam. no, Space Jam isn't.
There's been actually quite a bit, but it's like
Space Jam was like the opposite of Who Framed Roger Rabbit because it was a human in a cartoon world,
but
instead of a cartoon or cartoons in the human world.
It's still a similar
idea, for sure.
kind of. Yeah. You know, that's more green screen, where the other one was more of transposing animation on top of
cells onto actual frames of film or however they did it. But have you seen the behind the scenes stuff for Space Jam? There's not that much of it, but
probably just all green.
It's Michael Jordan like playing like basketball, or pretending to play basketball with no ball because it was a cartoon ball. But then they had like people like in green suits like around him kind of being the bad guys or whatever, the other team. So it looks so weird.
Way more interesting movie.
It's like that right there deserves an Oscar for Michael Jordan, because that acting like that, it's got to be crazy because it's just green everywhere. You
just treat him like other people.
And he's just playing basketball, so it's not like he's.
It's when you throw the basketball on one of the guys' faces or whatever. Yep. You're like, oh, that's why that ball just randomly bounced in midair. It's like, oh, that's why they put the cartoon guy there. Okay, because he smacked somebody's head.
That's where Bugs is going to be. But yeah. So speaking of movies, I guess that's
okay. Forced transition.
Segue enough.
Forced segue.
Star Wars. There was a story that they've already made $50 million, which is just off of pre-order.
Is it just off of pre-order, or are they also counting for like merchandise also?
I would think they've made more in merchandise, but let me.
Because that's kind of interesting. Because I mean, if it just counts tickets, it's believable. It's not unbelievable. But definitely, if that's if you were to tell me that that's both merchandise and tickets, that would definitely be. I could definitely say okay.
Let's see. I don't know, because I would assume with merchandise they probably made crazy amounts.
Well, I mean, Force Friday was kind of a letdown. So
was it?
Who knows? Well, I mean, yeah, you weren't able to find any of the good stuff.
It looks like it's just advanced ticket sales.
Really? Wow.
I'm kind of just skimming the article. Yeah, I think it's just
pre-sales.
I think it's just ticket pre-sales. 50 million. Which is crazy. I mean,
that's crazy. You're like, already it's made more than a lot of other movies. Yeah, and it hasn't even come out yet.
A lot of movies hope to just make $50 million just to.
Yeah,
they'd be like, we'd be lucky if we made that.
Yeah.
But they just
made
it.
Like we made $10.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a force to be reckoned with.
Oh,
I did it.
I'm done.
I'm sorry. All right.
I'm going home.
92 seems like a pretty good number. We can just quit now.
Yeah.
I'm
all
sorry.
Right,
that was
is
it.
over.
That was the pun that broke the camel's back.
So bad.
Oh no.
We have to now delete everything we've done.
Let's go back.
Nope.
Hey, welcome to episode
start all over
92.
again.
92. We made it, guys.
All right.
But yeah, so and it's still like it's still like a month away, right? It's not until like December 20 something.
Like right before Christmas. Yeah.
So
that's crazy. You're like already. You're like, jeez.
Yeah. So I mean, it pretty much dashes any of the hopes of people that want to watch the movie, like people that want to watch the movie but aren't people that want to buy the advance tickets. Like they're not going to be able to see the movie
for a while, for
like
probably a couple weeks.
Weeks, yeah. So
that's fine. It's like okay, fine. It's like I could either. Well, I don't know. I was like, when I think of it, we've got a theater close to our house that it's pretty much like you go on like any normal day and there's like 2 people there.
Yeah.
So it's like
like weekday matinee is like the perfect my favorite time to go to movies. I used to like unless if it's just me or if it's like a small group.
Yeah.
That's what I like. If it's like a group of people, I don't mind going like to like a midnight release or anything like that because it's a group of people and
it depends on
I'm going to be
though.
surrounded by people anyway, so why not have a full it doesn't matter to me if it's a full even though kind of it's annoying sometimes when people don't know how to watch movies with people and they get up a lot or talk or I don't know. Dance. I don't know what.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised if I saw someone just dancing just randomly.
I'll crack jokes and stuff in a movie theater, but it's if there's not a lot of people there.
Yeah, no, of course.
If there's a whole bunch of people there, I'll shut the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's
if there's no one around,
if there's nobody around, and
yeah, I crack jokes all the time.
So you're like, what the hell is that logic? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was like what?
What's going on?
Like there's that movie Eagle Eye.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember it, which was Shia LaBeouf, and it was about like this artificial intelligence computer trying to kill a lot of politicians or something like that.
Okay.
It's
oh
like,
no, that's gonna totally hurt us.
Yeah, like it was. I don't. It's like this all like surveillance network.
Skynet.
Conspiring, exactly. Yes, and like
just say Skynet, we get it.
and it ended up like it was essentially like controlling people, like with like
Skynet,
like, with threats of Skynet stuff, and it was controlling Shia LaBeouf and this other actress, which I don't remember her name. But at the end, they got together, so it was like Eagle Eye, the ultimate matchmaking program.
I know, yeah. Kill a whole bunch of people, almost die several times. All right, get
just
your
to
bone.
hook up these 2 characters. So
that'd be like a
funny.
Truman Show right on like steroids.
Yeah. Which was an amazing movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie. If you haven't seen that, that's an oldie.
Yeah,
Jim Carrey. That's definitely
one of his like comedic roles, but also dramatic. I mean,
yeah, because it was weird. It was kind of a. Yes, he had some comedic elements, but like the actual overall movie was actually quite serious.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like one of those what are they dramedies, but it way more drama. Like it dealt with like deep-seated issues and the philosophical concepts of like surveilling or the reality TV. It was like
basically they were talking about like the shit that's going on nowadays of all this constant surveillance and stuff, all the cameras around. Like they were they were talking about that way before this technology was even around, or it was starting to come into being. It was one of those it existed back then, but not to the extent today.
Yeah,
like we didn't have cameras on absolutely every friggin' thing back then, but we were starting to see it. I mean, that technology was starting to come around.
I wonder if I don't know. I don't know if there was any awards that it won. It probably won something, but because it was just so good. But I don't know if it won like Oscars or anything.
Yeah. Usually
that kind of movie doesn't. Like comedies don't really ever play well at the Oscars, unfortunately. Sadly.
I don't know. That's I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but that was definitely
it should have if it didn't. Like it's probably one of those movies that are like underrated by like or people don't think of that often, but it was really really good.
I mean, that's one that I think of whenever I think of probably one of the better movies that I've seen. That's definitely one of my higher up movies.
I think I haven't watched it recently, but last time I watched it, I felt it still stood up. Like it still held up pretty well.
Well, I think, like I said, ironically, I think it actually fits nowadays
better.
More. I think just the message that they're talking about, I think applies more today than it did back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially like the yes, the surveillance, like every corner you go to has cameras on it, but the reality TV type thing, like people all over the world watching real life, even though it's completely manipulated.
Well, of course, because it's one of those of any human being's going to be different when there's a camera sticking in front of them. They're not going to be them normal selves because they're like, I think my normal self's boring, so I'm going to.
And it's actually spawned like a mental disorder. Like there's people that think they're on a TV show, and it's called like the Truman Syndrome or something like that, or Truman Show Syndrome or something like that, which is weird. Like thinking everyone around you is actors and you're all part of a show
constantly.
Which
where's the camera? Where's the hidden camera?
That's why I gotta perform every once in a while just to keep my audience.
Yeah, as you say, we just randomly dance. Also, you see somebody just randomly start dancing. You're like, what the hell? He's like, I'm performing for my live streaming audience. Like, what?
Sweeps.
Yep. And they're like, oh, okay, I get you.
We understand, and then they just like walk slowly away from you.
But thinking of reality show and stuff like that, you're telling me what MTV's got some new show they're producing?
Yeah, MTV, which
for those of you who don't know, it was a channel that used to play music videos.
That's
but
what
apparently
it was.
They
music
decided,
television.
Like 10 years ago, just to say, you know what? Forget our namesake.
Yeah, we're
gonna do everything but music videos now, and we're gonna like plan it like maybe like 2 a.m. for like 10 minutes, and be like, all right, there you go. Yeah. There, we reached our quota.
Which I think, it's kind of dumb that music television, there's no real music on it anymore. But because of the internet, I think it would have been dumb for them to keep playing music.
Yeah.
But rebrand themselves.
But yeah, they should probably change the name to something else.
That's other than like MTV, but. Even like the brand MTV, even though it's real well known, it's well known as a joke now because it's music television and there's no and it's all like crappy.
It's all reality shows. Like they were kind of the ones who started, like them and were the two channels that started that all the reality show stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now
VH1 and stuff like that picked up on it.
And they announced it, I think, at San Diego Comic-Con, but I didn't hear about it. But they're releasing some more stuff for it. A high fantasy TV series based on the Shannara Chronicles or something like that. I've not heard of the book series. Apparently, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
But MTV purchased the rights to it, and they're going to be producing. It's so weird.
Why? Why?
Like, I mean, it's and the stuff looks okay. Like there's like a teaser trailer, like a featurette about it, talking to and it has some big names behind it, like the people that made Smallville.
Mm-hmm.
They're the showrunners. So I mean, Smallville, I didn't watch much of it, but it was pretty popular. And then Jon Favreau, who directed a bunch of the Marvel movies or a bunch of the Iron Man movies.
Okay.
So I mean, he's producing it. So I don't know.
It's one of those though. If you look at it, you're like, well, I have to wonder: is it a book series for like younger teens? Because I mean, that seems to be. I think in my mind, that's the only people who watch MTV.
Yeah, I hope. I mean, because the featurette said it's about like these 3 teenage people embarking on an epic quest. I mean, how generic of a synopsis can you get? But so probably they're gonna throw in like the young adult themes, like the love triangle or
sexual tension, that kind of
things
stuff
like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, and it's MTV, so you're not going to get like any of the Game of Thrones violence.
I know, which just sucks. Which like that's kind of takes
nudity or anything.
That takes part of the fun out of it. You're like, well, that's what we come to expect from these series nowadays.
And I mean, I do like fantasy, like because essentially it's like Earth way in the future after like a nuclear or chemical holocaust type thing. So you see like landmarks. You saw like in the featurette, you saw like the Eiffel Tower broken down, and you saw like this big battleship in like a field, like all decrepit. So that's kind of cool. And like the mutations created like elves or like what are the short people?
Dwarfs.
Sorry, speaking, I really like this type of stuff. But
the mini humans,
the
little people.
So that's like genetic mutation offshoots of humanity, which is a kind of a cool concept. Probably been used before.
See, I think that's weird though to make that fantasy. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, that's a weird way of making fantasy. That's more sci-fi, really.
Yeah, definitely. There's
at that point.
but then there's magic somehow. the people with magic. I don't know. It's probably explained in a one line or two, one throwaway line.
Shit
so,
blew up. Magic became real.
Radiation made us magic. Which
so sci-fi.
Yeah, it's sci-fi fantasy. Dystopian future, not because it's because the world destroyed itself. It's probably will have some of those elements, some of those philosophical elements, like war is bad, don't do war. It's like, okay.
And then as they're killing a bunch of people, they're like, war is bad. By the way, we're killing a whole bunch of people, but war is bad.
It's like war created this world.
So we're gonna kill it first, and then we're gonna want peace.
We need to do another war against the elves because we haven't learned, because history repeats itself, like everything. Yes. Yeah, so I don't know. It's that MTV kind of taints it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna have a hard time. I don't watch MTV.
I may try an episode. There's other fantasy series that have come out. Mm-hmm. There's one called like The Last Kingdom, and there's other ones that have come out after Game of Thrones' success. Yeah, and I haven't watched those. So I'm like, Game of Thrones is so good. Why would I watch any other?
Well, because it has boobs and violence.
Yeah.
Like, they're on HBO. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, it's
right there. That's going to help infinitely when they're like, well, they don't have to go by FCC regulations, or at least to a certain extent.
Because, exactly. HBO, like, that kind of stuff draws the people that aren't necessarily into fantasy into that show.
Like, I could see boobs. You're like, okay, there we go.
It's like, yes, I could watch football, or like generalizing, belittling sports fans, whatever. But like sports fans notoriously, maybe not nowadays, but stereotypically don't like nerd stuff. So, but it's like, oh, hot women, I might want to go see that. Yeah. Because and Game of Thrones has that. Yeah, exactly. So that helps HBO Game of Thrones because it's bringing in other types of fans. But if you take away all those elements that bring in other people, you're just going to get nerds, and nerds don't want to watch MTV.
Yeah, nerds are like, MTV, that's crap. You're like, because it's like, I don't want to watch that one show on it.
The show depends. It should be really good. Like, the stories could be good. I'll give it a try. I'll get it online whenever it comes out online. It's not due out until like January. Okay. So, I mean, it's not too far away, but
or until they leak it online, like everything else nowadays. Yeah. So it's at that point, it's like companies should just be like, you know what, screw it, we'll just put it out online. And like, okay, done. There you go.
And like the Netflix model, like they release all their stuff. Like that Jessica Jones just got released a couple days ago, or a few days ago, depending on Monday when this is released. And they release all their episodes at once and just be done with it. And it's like, yes, you can download it online, but you have all of the episodes already, like on Netflix, which pretty much everyone has. Yeah. Just watch it all there and be done with it. I don't know. I kind of like that concept, but then again, I download all my stuff anyway, so I don't know. I mean, what are we talking about? I don't do that. But Jessica Jones, it's the newest Marvel series, and it's really good. It's the second Netflix produced one. They did Daredevil, and that's going to be season 2 coming out at some point. And Jessica Jones is a really cool character. It's not like the stakes aren't as high as like Daredevil or Avengers and all the other Marvel stuff. It's really about like her trying to save like 2 people, and one of them's herself. So it's But I mean the villain, who Doctor Who, David Tennant, one of the Doctor Who's, not the recent one, like 2 back. Okay. Whichever 11th Doctor maybe. I'm probably, people are gonna get angry if they hear this, but whichever Doctor.
We don't know. Well, let's say it. We don't know.
David Tennant plays the bad guy, and he can tell people to do stuff. Like that's his power. Like he can persuade people. Okay. To, like he just says, go jump off that ledge, and they'll
force.
Essentially, yes, he's a Jedi, bad Jedi. He's a Sith.
You are a dumbass.
Yeah. It's like you. It's like, you want to give me your house, and they're like, yeah, here's my house. Or it's like, I like that car. You should give it to me. And they're like, I want to give you my car. It's like that kind of is and he's really obsessed with Jessica Jones. So. And he's a bad guy, so he like made her in her past do bad things, like kill that person or punch that lady or fight those people or whatever.
Steal that candy.
And she has like
baby.
super strength. That's like her thing. She can like jump really high. And
did they explain why she has these superpowers? Just cause?
No, but it's
maybe later.
It's the like the Inhuman like thing. Okay. Like Agents of Shield kind of went into it. Like, it's like these people. Well, I don't know if she's Inhuman. I think she is, but it's like, or she could. It's like mutants, but not mutants because they can't use mutants because X-Men has mutants.
Yeah.
It's like she's like one of them. It's the same thing with like well, I guess not. None of the Avengers are kind of like that. All the superpowered people are aliens. So
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's essentially aliens. Like there's aliens like way back in time mated with humans. So the people that still have that alien gene in their system got like activated.
Some of them have, yeah.
They got like activated and they have these powers. That's what the Agents of Shield thing is. So I think that's what she is. They haven't explained it.
Okay.
She just has these powers, and there's other people that have powers. Luke Cage is a person who has like he can't be damaged. Like that's his. Like he can't be cut or burned or anything.
Yeah.
He has impenetrable skin or whatever. Which is kind of like a metaphor type thing for his plot character. He's like, you can't love me, or I can't love, or whatever.
It's you can't penetrate me, but I can penetrate you.
and that's another thing. It's that like that kind of stuff is much more into it. It's much more
tongue in cheek.
Yeah. Well, no.
Or
like actual. Yeah. Like sex is featured in it in the show. I don't know if there hasn't been nudity, but there's been like sex scenes in it.
So they allude to it, and then it's like the traditional fade to black or whatever. And then
next day, they show it, or like the angles, like it's like from the other side of the room.
Tastefully edited, blah blah blah.
Exactly, yeah. But really good, and the not what I meant.
That's my favorite part.
Yes, really good. But the show's really good. It's much more darker. It's more personal. Like Daredevil has to save like the city from the crime lord Kingpin, and then Jessica Jones just has to save herself from her past, essentially.
Okay.
And David Tennant, the bad guy, is a really good bad guy. Like he's really good he's the same guy that played Artie Crouch in Harry Potter, the snake, where he's like real crazy.
I don't remember her.
Well, yeah,
I've seen most of them, but it's been so long.
He's been in other stuff. Like his main things are probably that Harry Potter thing, and then Doctor Who. But he's really good. The actress that plays Jessica Jones is really good. Kristen Ritter. She was in Breaking Bad. That's where I know her from.
Okay.
Some TV.
So you're dropping names. I'm a face person. I mean,
if you like most of the characters or most of the main characters you may have seen, Matrix, Trinity.
Okay.
She's in it. She's one of the characters. She's like a lawyer character.
Huh.
And Jessica Jones is like a private eye, so she deals with like cops and lawyers and stuff like that, and serving papers and detective work. So it's
superhero
good.
Blue collar job.
Exactly, yeah. So she's not trying to be a superhero. She's just.
I guess it's white collar, isn't it? White collar is the business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Blue collar is more of like the more intensive labor stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. White collar.
Yeah. White collar super person. So.
Do you imagine the superhero dressed up in a business suit, just like, here's your paperwork. You've been served.
Yeah.
No, I don't want it. It's like, you have been served.
That's literally a scene. She's like on a subway platform because it's in New York. And she's like, sign these divorce papers. She's like dangling the person off the subway line, the ledge. So and a train is coming. Sign these divorce papers. So it's pretty funny, but during that scene it was pretty dramatic because all the backstory stuff. Yeah. But really good. I've enjoyed it so far. I'm a little more than halfway. There's like 13 episodes. I'm like at like 7 or 8. So I'll watch it completely in the next couple days, and then I can talk about it more and spoil everything.
I'll still not know what the hell's going on anyway. So it's like,
well,
okay,
you'll know some things like from what I've told you now, unless you forget probably. But that's kind of the entertainment stuff that I wanted to talk about. There's some other stuff that's kind of weird, But I guess we can jump over to technology.
Okay, all right. So
and gaming and stuff. And
yeah, pretty much. Like, I mean, there really wasn't anything super big this week. I mean, just like kind of the main thing was Amiibo. Since I've been slowly, at first I had a strong distaste, and then of course, like the you love the thing you probably hate the most. Slowly got sucked into it.
Yeah.
But
I could see how it easily.
And that was why I was trying to tell myself, no, don't buy these things. So I knew exactly what was going to happen. And what happened? I end up like
getting
constantly
addicted,
going online and buying these stupid things. So now I'm buying like one like every couple of days. I go, ooh, I don't have that one. I gotta buy it.
Well, that's
like,
cool.
do I like this character? No, I still gotta buy it anyway.
There's other hobbies that could be much worse for you.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the collecting things, even though yes, it's financially, it could possibly be a problem for some people, and for some hobbies, but I would much rather have a person have financial problems than like drugs or like hobbies like that.
Well, it's still, when you look at it, it has a similar effect to drugs. Like, it's addicting because you're just like, I gotta buy a new one.
It's like, do I need food or do I need that new Animal Crossing amiibo?
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of it's like, okay, so I've just been, you just kind of keep up with it. Well, because on Friday it was was it Friday? I think it was Friday. It was like the 1 year anniversary of when Amiibos came
happy
out.
Birthday, Amiibo.
Yes, happy birthday, Amiibo, and screw you at the same time. Because there's still ones from a year ago that were hard to get, and they're still hard to get.
And you were saying they're stopping.
They're slowly
they're stopping
What ended up happening was essentially Friday was the last of the main Super Smash Brothers characters.
Okay.
So like the ones that you can get, like if you buy the game, you can play all the characters you can unlock just with the game by itself. They've all been released.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's one of those
are they stopping production of those?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
Actually, I think they're going backwards. I think they're actually going to start producing more. Because that's what they've been slowly doing is they've been restocking some of them. And so we'll just have to wait and see if some of the ones that were harder to get, they're probably going to start restocking them slowly. And
I wonder if there's probably like all things like first editions, like things like,
there's definitely
like first production.
They've done some reprints and they've done some updates of figures and stuff. So I would think
like collectors probably would want the first released ones.
Maybe because some of the first ones look a little bit derpier compared to the new ones. So I mean, it's that type of a reprint. It's not necessarily like we just changed a thing. It's not now his eyes actually look a little bit correct. Well, I guess they did that with some of them. They did reprints, and then the new ones actually look better than the first ones.
Or like production. They maybe the first ones they got the design and maybe had a rush or something like that. And,
who knows? There's a lot
they fixed
of things.
it the next, or they got feedback and they fixed it or something.
Yeah, but I mean, there's
Nintendo, maybe not. I don't know.
But they're slowly starting to release it. But I mean, like they've been really smart with it, and they've been IV dripping it.
Yeah,
they're like like you can't get a break. Just
like all the times we've brought up like Nintendo.
Yeah, if
like
you notice,
stop it, like things.
It's been like the last couple of weeks. There's always been something new with Amiibo. Like they're just constantly just like, oh hey, all you guys who are addicted to this, here's your next dosage. It's coming out in a couple of months, but here you go. Start pre-ordering.
There's a reason why Nintendo is like a crazy big company. Like superpower.
It's one of those when
they're smart
because they're the ones where they know when they find something they will abuse the absolute hell of it for the next several years, and they're just like, okay, now we've got people just buying these things just left and right just cause. So it's like, all right, let's keep releasing them like once every other week.
Keep them addicted.
So you have to keep buying them. And you're like,
yeah. I mean, but like I said again, it's harmless.
To an extent.
Fun collecting. Yeah.
Until you look at my room and it's starting to look like Hoarder with all the like freaking Amazon boxes and stuff that are just starting to pile up. I'm like, shit, I need to get rid of these boxes, but I don't have anywhere to put all the Amiibos yet.
Oh.
Like we've got a plan. It's just I haven't had time to spend because it's going to take a good couple hours to get it set up.
That'd be the big thing for me too. Like I would like to collect something, or maybe not to the extent of what you're doing or what people do, like with figurine sets. But I would like to have some figurines, and that would be a big thing. Like where can I put this to display it properly? I don't want to just throw it on a shelf where there's things behind it, and I'm just like, I'm proud of these things. I want them right.
Well, it's just oddly enough, it's kind of funny because what I'm thinking of doing is what my parents had was like one of my aunts. She used to. I'm not sure. I can't remember if she like co-owned a store or something like that. But they used to have a store, and they had some like almost like a turnstile display or whatever, like a big turning display or whatever.
Perfect.
And they for whatever reason they bought it. I was, they're telling me about it. I didn't understand what the hell they were talking about, and they showed it to me. I was like, oh, that's what you're talking about.
I want that.
I was like, okay. I'm like, fine. I'm like, because they're just like, well, we have it and we don't have any real use for it. So it's like, okay, well, I have a shit ton of figures that I could probably hang from it. So there we go.
Nice.
I mean, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to display them all cleanly, but at least I can get it out of the boxes, and then I can hang the rest on the wall or something like that.
Are you keeping them? Well, I guess it depends on if you have multiples or something. Are you keeping them in the box? Cases?
If I want to open one, I'll buy a second one.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm definitely what they call it, new in box collector. There's new in box and out of box collector.
Yeah. Well, and then there's different categories like mint, in box, and then there's like where the box is perfect, pristine as well.
I try to keep them as close to pristine, but I'm also not going to sit there and sink a whole bunch of money into the super special collector's cases because I don't really plan on selling them. It's just
something
I'm just
cool
buying
that you
them just
want.
because I'm like, okay, it's a nice, cool little checklist, and it's something to look forward to. Every day I look it up on Amazon stuff, see what's new and stuff. Because I was trying to avoid collecting like the Japanese imports and stuff, but what I think I'm doing is for some of the rare ones that are possibly coming out in the States, I think I'll like if I can find a Japanese one clean or cheap enough, I'll buy it, use that as my open one, and then go buy the American one and use that for my collection. Because for the ones that I want to open one and have one in a box. Yeah. Because I definitely want to keep the American one in the box. Because I'm like the Japanese one, I'm like, well, that's kind of weird to have a whole bunch of American ones and then a random Japanese one sitting there. It's like, well, I mean, if you open it, it's irrelevant because it's the same figure. Okay, yeah, and it's it works. It's region free, so you could still I could use a Japanese one.
It's just probably code. It's probably just some code.
Yeah, it's all the same code.
And then the actual game is the one that actually does what it needs to do with that code.
It doesn't really.
Because it's is it RF? Like is it like
I don't know,
or is it near field NFC or whatever it's called? I don't know.
I would have to look it up because I mean it's definitely it needs like if you have a Wii U or the new 3DS, it has like the stuff to read it. So it's like if you put it onto the touchscreen or like there's like a little square in the bottom left of the Wii U gamepad. You touch it to that and then it works. Like I have yet to open one yet. I have a whole bunch that I've been meaning to open and play around with them, but I just have yet to actually get around to doing it because I've been so busy with school and work. So I mean, I just plus I need to get them organized first to figure out. It's like, okay, then I'll start opening them. Because what am I going to do with all these once I open them? That's kind of the question too. Is I got to figure out. I'm like, well, that's part of the issue that I'm having now. Is I don't really have space, so I got to figure out. I'm like, what do I do? Do I get like a little mini shelf or something and put them up there?
You'll be featured on one of those like extreme collection TV shows where it's just like you walk into a room and it's just nothing. It's Amiibos lined everything. Every possible free space in your house is filled with Amiibos. I can see that happening.
I hope not. I don't think I'm gonna get that much into it. I mean, I'm at least getting one of each.
Yeah, no.
And then once that because it's like because they started doing the Animal Crossing ones, which are if they do all the Animal Crossing animals, whatever the hell they are. I've never played an Animal Crossing game, but I was just like,
I've seen it being played.
Because at first, like when they first came out, 2 weeks ago, I was like, I originally hadn't planned on getting them, but then I sat there and I was just like, oh, okay, fine, I'll buy them. I have no idea what the hell any of these things are, but I'll buy them. Yeah, I was like, fine. I was like, damn it, Nintendo. I'm like, all right.
They got you. Hook, line, and sinker.
Because it sucks. Because like, there's a little dog with a guitar. I'm like, oh, I want him. But it came with like 2 like llama things. I'm like, I don't want the llamas. I just want the dog with the guitar. I'm like that guy's cool.
Like the llama are also Amiibos too. Like
yeah, it's one of the 3 packs or whatever.
I guess it's probably if you play Animal Crossing, it's probably like the llamas are pretty cool or something.
I don't know. But I think I saw a lot online saying, well, I just want the dog. I don't want the llamas. I just want the dog.
Yeah, a dog playing a guitar would be kind of cool.
Yeah, it's a cool. It's like a little white dog. He has a guitar. You're like, oh my god, that's awesome. And you're like, I want that guy.
I don't know what his backstory is. He could be the reincarnation of Hitler. Who knows?
Yeah, so you want that? What is it, Mr. Rossetti or something like that? It's like a mole with like a hard hat and a shovel or something like that.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I want him.
I don't know why that sounds familiar.
Because I think he's coming out in January.
Or I think a mole with a hard hat is kind of like a cliche.
I don't know if he has a hard hat, but it's like a mole looking. It's a weird mole looking thing. I'm like, I want that. Yeah, I'm like, he looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I've never been much into collecting. I guess movies. Like I'm a real completist when it comes with like movies, but it's like digital stuff.
So
now.
that's not the same thing. You got to buy the special editions and stuff. Like,
no, well, not even that. Like I just got recently like all the Ernest movies. Remember, like Ernest Goes to Camp and.
But that's not
I
fun
know,
if you
but
just
that's
download it because that's easy. You can
I
find
know it's
those.
easy,
You can
but
just do a quick Google search and be like, oh, there we go.
But
done.
it's kind of the same thing. It's like I don't plan on ever watching those movies, but I still get them because I'm like. I remember watching those movies or some of those movies at one point. I want them all. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. But even that, I mean, like you said, that's nothing. It's not.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, that's not collecting.
There's no thrill of the chase. It's like if I can't find something, I open another tab and do another Google search, and then I find it later.
Yeah,
or if I can't find it, I'd be like, all right, not findable.
Because it was fun.
I just don't have that type of personality.
Because for me, I missed out on when you really had to hunt these things down. Because like back in the days where like there would have been maybe like one or two per store, and then
you had to
if you weren't there hours ahead of time, you weren't getting one.
Or you had to drive around to like all across town,
and then like the random Walmart in the middle of nowhere happened to have.
Or
you'd
actually go out of city. There's this one podcast I listen to called Tell 'em Steve Dave, and it's about and the people that are on it. Or one of the people that are on it work at a comic book store.
Okay.
And sometimes he has some of his other coworkers that work there and are on the show. And he talks about like doing that kind of stuff, like driving out of town to go buy a certain toy.
To the middle of nowhere town where nobody knows what's going on.
And just to find a certain toy or calling all over the city to see if they have something. I'm like, that's dedication. I just don't have that. I don't think.
I couldn't do that. I'm not that into it.
Well, I mean, maybe like back then, like when there weren't, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, I that's kind of why I didn't get into it at first because I was just like, man, I really don't want to do that.
Yeah, at the beginning they had like their stocking was bad, right? Like their shipping or whatever.
Like you could get like Mario, Luigi,
the main one,
your Zelda, your Link or whatever. You can get those easily, but you're like the small ones that everybody wanted, like the weird characters. There's like two of them, and then that's it. And then you're like done, and you're like, hold on, it's like no, those are the ones we want. We're like.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, finally, they started to kind of restock some of the older ones, but we'll have to wait and see because I think it would be in their best interest to just kind of rotate it.
Yeah.
To me, look, and you're like from the old set, like they had like Marf and stuff like that, and like now you go to Best Buy and there's still like 12 of them just sitting there. And you're like, well, okay, now why can't we do that with all of them now? If they start to rotate them, I think that would be in their best interest.
Yeah.
I think it would, and then then they'd sell a lot more because they know we want it. I mean,
reissue of Roy or who I don't know if that's a
not
person.
Yet,
that is a person, but
he hasn't come out yet. He's one of the DLC characters. So
you looked at me, you're like, wait, did you hear something about Roy?
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
But that's one of because that was one that Nintendo hasn't officially announced that they're going to release him, but. What ended up happening was in some of the kiosks and stuff that they have.
That's probably where I picked. Yeah.
Yeah, some people saw because
it had a picture of him. I think we talked about it last week. Yeah.
Because it was Roy, Ryu from Street Fighter. They accidentally found that. They had hints that they might be reproducing some of the older ones like Meta Knight and Ness and stuff there because they're like, well, we see them in the kiosk and that's kind of weird because
if it's an old,
you don't ever see them anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like one was a Best Buy exclusive and the other one was a GameStop exclusive. So it's like for them to see it in the kiosk, you're like, that could be a hint.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, it's plausible.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo usually doesn't. I don't know.
Normally they actually just kind of say, "Screw you guys," you missed their chance. But this, I think they've kind of got the hint that they're like, we can still make a shit ton of money off of these things. So you look at it, and like I said, they had 1 million of like the Marfs or whatever, but I still go to the Best Buy, and they actually still like go down in stock. So people are buying these things. It's not like they're just like there's not like 400 of them and they're just sitting there. They're like there's 400 of them. And they're selling them.
And you go back and
they get more, and then they sell those too. So
yeah.
I mean, it's one of every time I go in there, there's different levels of stock. It's not like they're just sitting on the shelf for forever. So they are being sold. So it would be in their best interest to start to re-release some of the rare ones.
That's good. I wish I had something like that. Like I said, the movie thing, but that's like nothing. But it's, I mean, the closest thing I have to that kind of stuff. I did like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, but not to a crazy extent.
That's just kind of my family's thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, we all kind of collect our own little thing. Like, we tend, like, my family is, like, borderline, like, we're so close to being over on that cusp of, like, being hoarders. It's just, like, we just have that, like, that one mental breakdown, and all of a sudden, next thing you know it, we've got, like, mountains of stuff in our house. Like, we're probably that close to it.
I do gather clutter. Like, I will go to like a thrift store and buy like something that I don't need. Like, there's this really old, well, kind of old film projector type thing that's like one of like the reel-to-reel type things, like the old film, and it wasn't that much, and I bought that. I'm like, and it's kind of broken, like it still turns on and stuff, but like the chassis thing is like broke. The one of the metal parts.
So I like want to actually put the
like I could like
through.
rig it like with like zip ties to bring this one part together to get the alignment right.
Okay.
And it turns and everything, and light still goes through it. So but I don't have any film. I could buy film. Like buy like, I'm sure there's like movies and stuff that you can buy, or
maybe,
or just like old home videos that someone's selling.
Yeah. To try your digital movies on that thing.
I'll watch Ernest Goes to Jail on that.
That's when you're like, oh, I bought this film projector, but I can't play it. It's like, why can't they plug a USB drive into it?
But like things like that, which I don't need, I will buy. And like my old job, I worked at like an electronics store, and they would like throw away working stuff because it's old.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'll take it. So I have like old like receivers and amplifiers in my room. Just clutter.
Oh man,
like that kind of stuff.
That'd be awesome, because you're like, you can get some good stuff that way. You're like, there's stuff where it's like it's just outdated. You're like, I'll take it.
I mean,
and
I do have like enough stuff, like maybe without speakers, to make like 3 or 4 like home theater rooms, like with like surround sound, like without the speakers right now. But I have that kind of stuff, and then I have like a couple Blu-ray players that work. Like some things don't work on them, like it can't connect to the internet or something, but it can still play discs. So like that kind of stuff, I guess. So I do have like the hoarder thing, but it's all like crap,
random,
like
tech
just
stuff,
clutter,
old
like
stuff.
Like whenever you go to like, whenever you see like the hoarder, like scary stories of like hoarders, like I see some glimpses of that in me, like because under my desk is just full of like old electronics. In my closet, I have all this musical instruments that I never play and stuff like that.
See, I'm the one where definitely I'm like probably like the personification of like the old classic cartoon where they open the closet, like somebody's going to open the closet and they're like, no, don't open that. All of a sudden a big pile of stuff starts falling out. That's me. I tend to go, like it looks clean, but on the surface, the second you open a door, it's like it just explodes. It's crap because I just shoved it in there.
Yeah, no,
that's what I end up doing. I'm just like, oh, it's time to clean the room. Shove it, and it's out of sight, out of mind type deal. Yeah. You're like, okay, it's
Then
I go, shit, I need to find that one thing from years ago.
It's like layers back.
It's in like a box, like under 400 other boxes. You're like, damn it.
Yeah, no, I'm that same way. But I wish it was. Well, to me, it's cool stuff, but I wish it was more useful stuff or stuff that I could like display or something. I don't know.
Well, you can display it. It's just you gotta clean it. For you to display your stuff, it costs significant more money than me. Because me, I just can get just thumbtacks.
You can thumbtack it on the wall. Yeah.
Or because I was thinking of getting like a big giant shelf system or something like that. But I'm like, that's more work. Mm-hmm. And then when we have this display thing, I'm like, I could run with that. That's just a start. We could take a look how it looks.
If you build like a whole shelf thing, or I guess it could be portable, like if you ever wanted to change it or something, the thumbtacks on the wall would be much easier, much more feasible of a move.
Yeah, because I think with the amount of Amiibos there are, I'm gonna have to hang some on the wall no matter what. I don't think the thing we have. I mean, it's pretty big. I mean, it's as tall as I am, so it's a really tall damn thing. But
you can put the like the rarer ones on the little display thing, and then put the other stuff there.
Who knows? I don't know. I haven't had any time to sit down with it, so. Maybe take some pictures of it when I'm done.
Let's see, anything else?
The only other thing was...
We've done about 43, so we have time to do
unfortunately, with this running a Monday, everybody's going to miss it, but this weekend was the Overwatch stress test. Okay. Blizzard's take on Team Fortress 2.
Okay.
Pretty much they're like, oh, hey, you like that Team Fortress 2?
So there's like certain classes
of
characters working together.
Kind of.
for certain missions or whatever.
Yeah, it's like pretty much they're like, oh, you like that Team Fortress 2 game from years ago? Okay, well, hey, we've been making this MOBA game thing. It's like, well, let's put the two together and see what the hell happens type of deal.
And MOBA is the
like
multiplayer online battle arena. Okay.
Yeah, or the Dota,
League of Legends type stuff.
Because MOBA, like, there is really no official term. It's just, it's kind of
what's that?
League of Legends was just like, we're just gonna start calling it MOBA. It's really before everybody was just calling it Dota, Dota style. It was, because that was the first. It wasn't the first one, but it was the first one that got really popular. And so for a while, everybody was just calling it Dota.
What's
Defense of the Ancients?
Defense of the Ancients, and then League of Legends. Okay. Yeah.
So so it was Dota for a while, because there was Aeon of Strife, I think, was kind of the one of the early popular ones. That was back on, I think, StarCraft. I think is where that was.
Okay.
And then Dota came about on Warcraft 3.
It was a mod.
Yeah, and then it became, because at first Dota wasn't that popular, but then there was Dota All Stars was when it started to get really popular. And that's when you started to see like the tournaments pop up.
Okay.
And then League of Legends came out,
and that was like the same people that made Dota.
Some of them, yeah. It was kind of
as of a standalone game.
Essentially, what ended up happening was like it was one team. I think League of Legends was like the guys who made the original Dota, and then Dota 2 was one of the more current guys who kept up with Dota. Like one of the guys who did like Dota All Stars and was updating and stuff. He went and did Dota 2. I think it's one or the other. I can't remember which one went which direction.
Okay.
You could do a quick Google search to figure all that out, but it's one of it was one was the original guys and the other one was the more current guys.
Okay.
And because I just, after playing League of Legends for so long, it's hard for me to go back to Dota because or Dota 2. It just feels so archaic. Like I've gotten so used to the more movement in League of Legends that now when Dota 2 it's a little bit harder because there's like it's like you have turn speed and stuff like that. So there's stuff like that, like you, and then like just last hitting stuff seems harder, and like you can deny stuff. You have to remember, and then you're like because now you're like, where you have more emphasis on items, actual, they're what they do is more important. Because League of Legends, you're more worried about stats depending on what type of character you're playing and stuff.
Yeah.
But Overwatch, I mean, like there's no items or anything like that, but it's like first person shooter. And you basically get a hero with a couple of skills. So like your right mouse button does one thing, your left mouse button does another thing, left shift does another thing, and then I think it's E is another ability. And
and that's it essentially for that each character
has different ones.
And is it the same as kind of like Team Fortress? Because Team Fortress there's like the heavy, the medic, the spy,
kind of, because
the sniper, scout.
Like they've got it broken up into got it into like your offensive characters. They've got your hunker down and build base defenses type guys. They've got your tank characters, and you have your support characters.
Does it seem more serious? Because I know Team Fortress always played on like comedy, like with its like funny characters and stuff. Do you know if Overwatch is more? They're taking that style more serious? Or is it maybe the same? But it's probably not super serious.
Not as silly as Team Fortress 2, but also not super serious. Like it's bright and colorful. I mean, there's a lot of color. I mean, it's definitely not a dull and dread game. Like you have a wide range of characters, but they're definitely more on the bright and colorful side, like the more attractive side than being the dark and gritty.
Is a good way to go for games. I mean,
Yeah, because the weird thing though. I'd have to go back and read the article that they wrote on it, but they're doing, instead of doing free to play, which is usually kind of how those games go nowadays, they're going with the actual you pay up front, and then I have to find out if the future content is going to be free to play, or if that's going to be pay to do future content. That's what I'm a little hesitant on, because I don't want to spend $40-$60 and then have to spend more money to buy new content. Because it's like, well, hold on, that's why I thought we were paying up front, so we didn't have to do this. Because like what I'm hesitant on is I mean I tried to play as much this weekend as I could, and
Oh, you played some of it?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it was open to anybody who had a Blizzard account.
Because that's what it's a stress test. So
yeah, it was a stress test. So they're like,
okay,
anybody. We didn't have to invite you or anybody.
It
was if you download the game and you could play.
So they're testing like their servers and stuff.
Yeah, it was limited. I mean, you had basically there was only a couple of maps and it was just kind of the same game modes over and over again. Mm-hmm. So it was, I'm like, I hope there's more to the game.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if that's it, I'm like, I'm not gonna get it because I'm gonna be bored in like 2 days. You're like, it's fun.
I would assume they just did a limited thing right now just to test stuff. I assume. I don't know. Yeah. I'd hope for game's sake.
Because I mean, I had fun because I mean, it was one of those. It was like a first-person shooter, and then they're starting to go with more of the ideas of like some of the high mobility and stuff like that. Like that, I had fun when I was playing like the high mobility champions. It was like there was one that I obviously was more drawn to because it was a character. She would pilot a mech, and so immediately, and it had like Japanese or it was Korean, I think, like bunnies and like Korean layers and stuff. I was like immediately it was a reference to like Gamer because I guess the backstory of like she was supposed to be like a former StarCraft 2 professional player or something like that. Funny. So it was kind of that, and like I guess
she built a suit or something
something weird like that, like
had a scientist dad or something.
Who knows? Something along those lines. Like now she's former StarCraft 2 player, now mech pilot for whatever reason, for reasons just
yeah.
But she was pretty cool because like pretty much like just like you just push the button and she shoots. Like there's infinite ammo and stuff like that. So you can just hold down the button, you just constantly keep shooting.
Yep. That's
there's a mixture of that. Like then she's got it's like a defense matrix where if you keep another player inside of it, like any bullets they shoot at you or any projectiles, it'll get stopped.
Oh, okay.
So that includes ults too. Yeah. So I mean, it's potentially really powerful, but also the thing is it's only in one direction. So you just have to flank her as she's using it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
There's that, and then she's got a short boost where it actually can let her fly and stuff like that. So you can actually get up to pretty sneaky places because there was once or twice where I kind of flew over a ledge and then I stuck behind everybody and they're just like, what the hell? And there I am just shooting everybody.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
But her ultimate ability, which is really fun, is she jumps out of it and then it channels for a little bit and it basically just like nukes an area. And so there's that. And so when I first found out about that, I was like, oh, what the hell's going on? Boom, I killed myself. But I killed like half their team or most of their team. So I'm like, all right, I took out like everybody and their team. Yeah. And it was funny because that was like one of the first games I played as her. And at the end of the match, they have like a play of the game or whatever. And it's of course it was that one of me blowing myself up and everybody else. So you just see because it's odd some of some of the weird best plays of the game, like when it's a relatively slow game, you look, it's kind of boring. Like I saw one YouTube video where it was just like literally like the guy was just walking around and somehow for whatever reason the replay system was like, that's the most exciting play. Here's this guy just walking around. He's like, he just shot like 2 bullets and just walked away.
That's like the what is that game? It's like that. I think it's Call of Duty. It shows like the last kill of the game.
They do the last
kill. Those, like it's dumb, like a pistol kill. It's like, oh, come on.
See, it's always funny when you see like they throw like the magazine clip or something like that, and it bounces off the head. Or it's always something stupid.
Oh, they do some weird things.
Or there's some ones where like you'll see like where they'll just like shoot straight up in the air a grenade, and it'll just magically fall on the last guy, and you're like, oh damn it. Yeah. It's always stuff like that where like you see people trying to get like the most elaborate kill cams and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's essentially like that, but it's one of those
the play of the game.
It keeps track. It goes, it records, the highest like multi-kill essentially is usually what it ends up being. Or sometimes like there was one that I had where it ended up being a medic, and the medic was healing. Because what happens is when if the medic is healing somebody, and that person kills somebody, they get credit, or they don't get full credit, but they get part of the kill credit. Okay. Which is fair because they don't really have that much of the way offense. I mean, they have a little bit off. Some of them have offensive capabilities, but like the healer doesn't really have that much. So
they have to.
So it'd be unfair because you're like, well, how do I contribute? Because I mean, I'm healing, but still, but it's like
okay, nice.
But it's fun because the characters are varied and stuff like that. Like there's definitely
And is it PC only so far? Like Blizzard
it's gonna be on Xbox One.
Okay.
I don't know I think Xbox One and PlayStation 4. It's gonna be multi-platform.
And do you know if it's gonna be the same as like League of Legends where they introduce new character? No, probably not. Because Team Fortress doesn't introduce new characters very rarely.
I would think this one probably they would.
Okay.
I think so. Because I mean,
pretty cool.
already since it's been in beta development, they've already released like more characters. So it's one of, I would think so, because since Blizzard's doing Heart of the Storm, I would think so.
Okay.
I think if they don't,
it would be weird.
I'm not going to be very interested in it because it's like, okay, that's great. I mean,
yeah, because you'd get bored with the same 6 characters.
And that's where I'm saying I'm kind of curious as to what the business model continuing is going to be. I mean, is it you're going to pay your $40 flat up, or you know $60 for the special edition?
I see.
Or whatever, and then are they going to give you the new stuff for free, or am I going to have to pay $10-15 for every hero that comes out, or am I going to have to play forever to earn them?
Because that's the usual business model, right? Is free game, pay downloadable stuff, or not free game, and you get stuff like patches for free or stuff like that for free.
What happened with Team Fortress 2 was they released it with like Half-Life 2, like Orange Box is what they released it in.
With
it was
Portal,
Half-Life 2,
Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, it was episode 1. Episode 1, I think, was in it.
Okay.
And of course, Half-Life 2 came with it also, and then it was a mixture. It was a bunch of games. So it was actually back at the time. You're like, oh my god, there's actually some really good games in this set. So it was worthwhile to get it back then. I mean, now you can get like the entire Steam library or Valve library for like $5 nowadays, so it's dirt cheap.
Yeah.
But it was originally you paid an initial upfront cost, and then you got all the game modes and stuff, and then they slowly added in some new content here or there. They never really added in any more characters, but they did add new game modes, new content and stuff.
Okay,
and once you bought it, you had it. And that's when they started to add in like the hats and stuff like that, and the different weapons and stuff, like the more the free to play stuff. And then eventually they just said, screw it, we're just going to make the entire game free to play. And I think they gave whoever paid it, I think that you got special hat or something like that.
Nice.
I mean, which are kind of, they'd have to do something because you're like, wait a second, I paid all this money to buy the game because originally we couldn't buy it, and now it's free? You're like, that's kind of sucks.
No, that's good.
Usually games do that. Usually companies, they kind of go, all right, well, if we made people pay a bunch of money for this and now we're doing it free to play, like we'll give the people who play, we'll give them something.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like whenever, because I've not much in the gaming anymore, especially PC gaming, I rarely do ever. But like whenever I was playing games like Halo, ish time, like Halo 3-ish time, like you'd buy the game and then you'd have to also buy DLC. Like you have to buy maps and stuff. That's kind of gone away, but you're saying it possibly could.
Maybe that's
what you're worried about.
That's what I have to do a little bit more research before I decide. Because I mean, if it is you pay the flat free up front, then I'll highly consider buying it. I think it looks fun enough. I gotta also see what else they plan to do. Is the issue? I gotta see, is it more than just those 2 game types? I hope so.
Yeah, because what is it like? Capture the flag.
It's basically like a couple of the maps are just occupy the base or whatever, and then it's like the escort the payload where
I see. Okay.
If more of your teams
kind of like the standard cliche.
Yeah, if more of your teams next to it, it'll push the thing to the endpoint or whatever. So
I see. All right.
So we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
And that's Overwatch.
Overwatch, yeah. Because it's weird because all of a sudden the Team Fortress 2 genre is starting to pick up again because we have Overwatch and then there's Battleborn, which is also coming out.
I think I've heard of that.
So it's who knows? It's gonna. I mean,
from
I
what
don't
I've
know why that genre. That's a weird one.
What I've seen from Team Fortress, it always looked like it's fun to play. Like
Team Fortress is fun. Like the most fun I had with it was. It was Intel Land Fest, I think it was. It was up in Austin. I went up with some friends, and we pretty much had, I think, like 40 of us or whatever, and we did like 20 on 20 Team Fortress 2. Like that was just nuts. That was fun.
Chaos.
It was just chaos. I mean, there's like everybody dying. It was just like people just shooting. It was fun. That was the most fun I had when we had just a whole bunch of shit ton of people all playing the same game.
Well, it's like those I forgot what it's called, but in Halo, where it's like you had those games, those multiplayer games, where it was a huge amount of people playing.
See, because it depends. Like something like that where everybody's on the same playing field, that's fun. But like the issue that I always had with like Battlefield and stuff like that was when you got to the big, huge maps like that, there's people with like airplanes and tanks. So if you didn't have one of those two, then you were half the time you were screwed. You're just like constantly dying. You're like, I want an airplane or a tank so I can live more than 2 seconds. Kaboom, you die. You're like, damn it.
Yeah, that gets annoying.
And so I was like, okay. So I always played like the smaller squad-based ones because I'm like, there's less people. I can actually shoot people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of sucks because some of the maps were kind of big, so sometimes you're just like, I can't find anybody.
Yeah, that's usually one of my lines when I'm playing games like that. It's like, I think I got spawned on the wrong map because I'm not seeing anybody here.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden that's when you finally find somebody. You
I
get
walk up on like
instantly.
4 of them and they're like, dang it, all right. But anything else? I mean, we've gone about an hour, so.
I can't think of anything else. I mean, really, Black Friday and Thanksgiving is this week.
Oh yeah.
So we got lots of fun stuff.
Happy future
happy Thanksgiving early Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And
that's
don't
gonna
go
happen.
get killed at Walmart on Black Friday.
It's not worth it.
Or if you do, take a picture as they're beating you up, and then we
send
will,
it to us.
Yeah,
and
we
can break that story.
That'd be awesome.
Breaking news.
Breaking news live. This guy getting his ass kicked.
This guy, yeah. Well, it would probably. Well, I'm sure there's going to be videos like that popping up.
Of course.
Yeah, that's going to be.
Actually,
that's going to go saturate your news feeds.
Well, the funny part they're saying is actually they're thinking Black Friday this year is not going to do too well.
Oh yeah.
And I think they're thinking in the future generally
because online type.
Because Cyber Monday and stuff. Because I mean, like I saw like Best Buy like this weekend. They were saying, beat the Black Friday rush. Yeah. Buy some of this stuff now.
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm like.
And Amazon, they probably have like deals leading up to that. Like they have, I would assume. I haven't looked on Amazon, but I assume they have that kind of stuff.
Well, actually, one last thing before we go that I thought of. Steam, what they're going to be doing is when they do their next holiday sales and stuff like that, they're not going to be doing like the flash sales and stuff like that. Like they're not going to do like the daily deals. Oh. What they're going to start doing is instead of doing like these certain games are on sale today and then new games are on sale tomorrow, they're just basically going to go, here's the sale period. Mm-hmm. All the games that are going to be on sale during this week are going to be sale up front.
Ah.
So it's like it's a mixture of, that's good. Mm-hmm. But also for me, I'm just like, now I lose that thrill of the hunt part. I lose that, it's not like, like you don't get to look forward to every day going, ooh, new games are on sale, So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do because that's part of the interactive part was, it's like, oh, pick what games are going to be on sale next, that kind of stuff. And
or the waiting, like the expectations, like, oh, this game's gonna be on there. I need to be ready for it, or something like that.
I mean, of course, it's a digital game, so there's
not gonna run out
of copies, but still,
but
it was just the not knowing what's going to be on sale and when. You're like, okay, when's this game going to be? You can kind of guess what's going to be on sale, but you're like, when's it going to be on sale? And so you kind of lose a little bit of that fun. So I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to do to kind of
bring that kind of stuff back.
Because you're like, I think in the long run, really, in all reality, they'll probably make more money that way. Because then it's not now you're not. You know, you don't lose on those guys who are like, oh, I didn't know that game was on sale. I totally wanted to buy it. It's like now it's like, oh, okay.
Or there'll be those people that just like click, add to cart, and just like from the whole light or whatever is on sale instead of having to
so then since now it's not gonna go any less than that. Then you go, okay, now I'm not gonna just kind of wait for it. Now I just buy them all now and then be done with it. Well, so in a way, it's better, but also it loses some of the fun. Who knows?
They'll roll it out this first time or whatever, and they'll see how it goes and see if they need to change or.
Because they're supposed to be doing one soon here. I can't remember what the date was. I think it's maybe even this week, but there's supposed to be one really soon.
Look it up real quick. Just Steam sales or something like that.
Yeah, and then there's supposed to be another one during Christmas time. I think one next month.
All right, let's see. Kotaku. Let's see what they say.
Yeah, that was I think the article that I saw.
They're changing their Steam
for Gabe Newell and his religious stuff.
Does it have a date?
Somewhere I saw that there was a date for him. I can't remember where I found it. Soon. Question mark.
I'm not seeing a date.
Maybe not in that article. Somewhere there was dates for these.
Steam sales tracker.
Yeah.
This is like.
All right. Well, either way,
deals.
sometime soon. If we find it, we may put a little post on it or something.
Or I'll cut all that out.
Sometime soon.
Yeah, I'm sure it's periodic, and there'll be one for this
I think there's
holiday season.
Yeah,
and
I think there's one this month and
so.
one next month. I think is what I remember reading. I could be lying completely. I could have misread it, but it's something like that. That tends to happen a lot with us. So
yeah, it's like
this is all stuff that it's like I remember. I just remember this from like I read this one article like 5 days ago.
I read a headline of one article and I know the entire story.
I skimmed the paragraph and I guessed on what it meant.
Take everything we say with a grain of salt.
Oh, always. That's what I say. We are not a legitimate news channel.
No, do not base anything on what we say. But anything else? Any other last minute? I don't think I have anything else either. But that's going to be our episode. Make sure to follow us on all the social media stuff.
Yeah.
ThinkingOutsideThePod.com or Logicool.com.
Oh, that's right. I gotta try to contribute to that.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting.
Don't worry, no one else is either. So everyone else isn't as well. But that's fine. But go there and you'll find all of our links to everything, and make sure to subscribe and comment and everything like that. And we'll be back next Monday with episode 93.
All right, bye.
Bye.